You know, I always find it funny how many different reactions I get when I people find out that I like kids. Because a lot of times people find this out and they think, what? You like kids? You like those little shitheads? And they just can't wrap their head around it. I mean, sure, kids can be shitheads. Sure, kids can suck and they can be unpredictable and seem very unmanageable and annoying as fuck. But kids are the future. Kids have so much power in this world, you know? I mean, think of how many commercials there are for all these like toys. I mean, back when Toys R Us was still a thing, right? I feel like 99.9% of all the commercials back then were targeted to us as kids. You know, watching TV and thinking, man, I want those things. Man, I want those. Like, I remember when I was a kid, I saw this commercial about this these stupid little fuzzy toys with eyes and like little hands, and you would just, they were so flexible and bendy, and you can just, I don't know, do whatever you want with them or something. I don't know. Of course, at the end of the commercial, they'd say, you must be 18 or older to call or order online. I used to watch all those commercials and just wish and hope for the day that I turned 18 so I can just call them and order whatever I wanted. And then I got 18 and I didn't want any of those stuff anymore. Looking back, they were so stupid, but I wanted them so much. That makes me think. I mean, like, yeah, sure, we got a ton of stuff that are marketed towards adults and us and whatever. But think about when you go to an amusement park and you see Snoopy or Mickey Mouse. All those like colors and lights and all those things. All these pretzels and ice creams. All this stuff are targeted to kids. I mean, sure, yeah, people who love theme parks can get a thrill of that too. But so many things are marketed towards kids. And sure, the money comes from their parents, right? But in actuality, it's the kids who say, Mommy, I want this. Daddy, would you buy me that? And so the parents like, all right, fine, I'll buy you a churro if you just shut up. And then, I mean, Disneyland in itself is the magical place where you can just be a kid again. I think deep down, all of us just still want to be kids. And it's crazy how when you're little, you just want to grow up so fast. Not me, when I was a kid, I wanted to stay a kid forever because I knew what was coming. I didn't want to fall in love. I didn't want to pay taxes and deal with adult things. But anyway, it's just crazy how sometimes the way you treat a kid, no matter their age, right? It can be someone who's 13 or someone who's 5. The way you treat that kid affects them so much more than we think. And yeah, I mean, nowadays we can think back and we can be like, whoa, you know, I don't want to cause this kid so much trauma in the future, and then that's going to affect the entire world, and then everybody else, and the whole world is going to be doomed forever. The world is always doomed, so don't even trip. I just think it's important to be able to talk to children and be able to make them feel so loved and supported, and how that will not only play a huge impact on their future selves, but also in the world around them, you know? From a young age, we're taught this and that, and this is the right way to do things, and this is societal norms, and all these different rules of who to be and how to live. And then when we're older, we're just kind of stuck with life and stuck with like, okay, what do I want to do in life, or who am I? And thinking, oh, this is who I am. And you got another kind of trauma from your childhood or teen years or whatever presented itself, and you think, fuck, more shadow work. The way you treat a kid, it could be for, I don't know, a day or an hour. It could even just be one encounter with a kid. Whatever you do in that encounter can affect them in so many more ways than you can possibly imagine. And you may think, and you may be listening to me and thinking, yeah, sure, everybody knows that. Everybody knows that it can affect the world and change the world. But if you don't know, I mean, let me tell you the story. So the story goes that there was once this woman, as a young adult or a teenager, I don't really know, she used to volunteer at all these homeless shelters and communities and volunteer to feed the homeless. And she would feed and take care of all these poor kids and homeless kids. And flash forward a lot of years later, and the whole city was divided into two different parts. Those kids grew up to be gang members and drug dealers and ended up ruling half of the city. And that woman grew to be very old. And one day she walked past one of those gang members and they remembered her and said, "You're the woman who used to take care of us and feed us as kids." For the longest time, that old lady was the only one, the only citizen in the entire city who was able to walk into both parts of the city freely as she could. And the moral of the story isn't be nice to kids because they might grow up to be future gang members and drug dealers. Like, no. I feel like that story is a good reminder how important kids are. Just something to think about. I mean, overall, I think kids are great. Kids are cool. Something I really like about them is how genuine they are, you know? You don't know how attractive you are until a kid tells you you're attractive. Kids lie all the time, but for the most part, they say what they feel and they say what they mean. I think something that's important is to not let our ego speak for itself when it comes to dealing with kids, because a lot of times I think where adults fail is thinking, well, I'm older than you, I have more experience than you. And that's just not true. That's not it. We all have different experiences. We all have different ways of thinking. You're never too old to learn something from someone who's younger than you, and you're never too young to learn something from someone who's older than you. Just thought I'd share. Kids are funny too. I also think kids are way smarter than we give them credit for. There's just so much that we can learn from kids that I think we as adults forget sometimes. Like how creative they are and how it's easier for them to adapt to certain changes in life. I think we can learn to be a lot more creative and more authentic to who we are when we choose to observe children and how they act. Your inner child that you keep so hidden and locked away in all the debt and responsibilities. You know, I remember taking a movement for the actor class. I think it was like 2 years ago. 2 years ago? This pandemic is so long. But yeah, 2 years ago I took this movement for the actor class. I also took Shakespeare. No Fear, I don't remember. It was just some Shakespeare class. One of my favorite professors taught us. Sometimes when you just feel so overwhelmed from life and their problems and all these things, you just need to play. And so she made us grab our scripts and our sonnets or whatever and cut them up into little pieces, word by word, little tiny words all around us. And we just made a huge mess. I said, make a mess, pick up a random word and just play with that word. And so all of us just started making messes with the words and throwing them everywhere and rolling in an ocean of words and Shakespearean language, screaming and playing and rolling all over and all of that. It was so much fun. And then afterwards, we just felt so comfortable with not only who we were, but comfortable with our work and what we were supposed to do, like memorizing the lines and being true to a character. Honestly, I respect her so much for how open she is with her inner child and how she allows herself to just be a kid whenever she needs to. I think that's something we all could learn from time to time. Anyway, those are just a few reasons why I like kids and how I think they're powerful. Scary stuff, huh? Yeah, that's all I have to say. So, slay later.